Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name remains Bridgie. If this is your first time of seeing my face on your screen, you're welcome, you are welcome. I really appreciate you. Thank you for coming. Yes, today is story time and I'm here to share my personal story about trusting God for a child. In one of my videos I talked about how I waited for a child, and a lot of people sent comment that they wanted to hear the story. And before I go on, I want to say disclaimer. This is just what happened to me, my own personal ideas, and that's what I'm going to share my experience. I'm not saying it's what everyone is going to do, but this is what I did and how my testimony came. Anyone that is trusting God for a child, anyone that is believing God to conceive, anyone that is still looking unto God for anything apart from a child, yours might be different. You might be trusting God for good health, for finances, for anything. I want to tell you that God will come true for you. All you need to do is to trust Him completely. In 2011, November, precisely, we got married. Jay and I got married, and my husband wanted us to wait for 1 year before we start trying to get pregnant, because we just met, and a few months down the line, about 6 months thereabout, if it was even up to 6 months, we got married. So he wanted us to spend more time together, to know each other before we start trying for children. And so next month in December, I got pregnant, and we were happy. We thank God, we're happy and all of that. So a few weeks down the line, I got back from work. I was preparing dinner. My husband was still at work, and I decided to go have my bath. And as I was having my bath, I slipped in the bathing room and I fell. It was not something very serious as I thought. I got up, I was fine, had my bath, prepared dinner and all that. And my husband got back from work, and I'm like, oh, I had a fall when I was having a shower. And I'm like, are you serious? Are you okay? And all that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, nothing to worry about. Not a serious thing. I just slipped and fell, but I'm back. I'm fine. I'm all of that. And in the middle of I think in the morning, about 4 a.m., I went to ease myself, and I saw that I was bleeding. And I woke him up that morning and said I was bleeding. We went to the hospital first in the morning about 6:30. And they began to run scans and this, and I was bleeding so much, and they're like, sorry, you've lost it. And definitely you cry and all of that. Just give some antibiotics and let's see how it goes. You'll come back the next week and we do a scan and see how it goes and all of that. And that was how that chapter closed. And it was in December, so our first Christmas together, that had happened. And the next year, in August the next year, we found out we were pregnant, and this time we were super excited. It was like a beautiful birthday gift because my birthday was in August, and we were so excited. We started antenatal, we started going to the hospital, routine checks and routine doctor's visit and all of that. We were very, very happy. We're thankful to God for what He had done. In December, I remember that day very vividly. It was a Sunday, it was a Thanksgiving in church, and that Sunday morning when I woke up, had my bath, getting ready for Thanksgiving, I just felt I felt weird, but I wasn't having any pains or anything, but I was just I felt weird that morning. And then we went to church. We got back from church. I just said I was going to sleep. I was tired, and then I woke up. I think about 4 p.m. I was feeling so much pain, and it was a Sunday, and you know, Nigerian hospitals, and I called my doctor, and my doctor was like, we should try and do a scan and come in. Next morning, as early as 6 a.m. in the morning, I just had my bath and all that, and I felt ghost pimples all over my body. I could remember it very vividly, and my membrane ruptured. There was water everywhere. And then I got into the car and then straight into the hospital. got in there, we were ringing already. They were waiting for us at emergency with the stretcher and everything. And we went straight into emergency and they checked and like, sorry again, you've lost it. At this point, it was not funny. Like, all our hopes were shattered. Just imagine from August through to like December. This was about 20 weeks, 19, 20 weeks old, and I was already halfway through the journey. And this time, I was broken. I was shattered. They did all they could do and all of that, and we went home. And when we went home, it wasn't me. I could tell you for sure that that part of my life, at that point in my life, there was a break. Like, I shut down from every single thing. I shut down from my phone. I wasn't picking calls. I wasn't myself. Not happy at all. Nothing could make me happy at that point in time. All I was thinking of was, why me? What's happening to me? And you know what? In this period of my life, I had people I was interceding for. I had a list of friends I was praying for, trusting God for the fruit of the womb. And then they got pregnant and they had their babies. But the sincere truth of it all was I was happy for them. I was so happy. And I'm like, God, thank you, you've done it for this. God, thank you, you've done it for that. God, thank you. Every day in our place of prayer, we call names of people. I have my list down that I write names. If I just feel that, even when some people come to me and they tell me, like, we talk about it and they tell me this is what we are going through. And then some people come and they don't even tell me, but I just feel in my spirit that these people are waiting and all of that. And will still mention them in the place of prayer. And God was answering these people. I was sincerely happy for them. And at this time of my life, you will see babies, like, literally every single week on my status, new babies were coming. Then it was BBM, and then on my baby status, new babies. And you see people, they know it's not your baby. They just want to pull your legs. They just want to make you feel bad. That is what I personally feel. Some of them might be sincere, but I don't think it was really important at that time. And then they come to your status and like, oh, cute baby, is this your baby? Some will start with like, congratulations, oh, you've had a baby. Like, no, sorry, it's not my baby. Maybe my friend's baby, maybe my cousin's baby, maybe a family colleague's baby or something. And I was like, oh, sorry, it's not my baby. And like, oh, we're tired of seeing different babies on your DP. We're waiting for yours. And these things literally took me back to God and like, God, just do what you want to do in my life. And you know what? At that time when I lost the second pregnancy, I will cry. Like, I will sit at home. My husband will go to work. Of course, I had to take some time off work. He would go to work and come back and meet me in that same position, in that same 90 or pajamas. Like, no food, no water. At times, yes, I drink water, but no food. Still mourning, still wailing, still heartbroken, still crying. And there was something that my husband would always say: please be strong and be of good courage. And then I will burst. Why will you have to tell me to be strong? It is me that went through this. It is my body that felt all the symptoms and all of that. And you know what? After about 1 week, I don't pick my calls. I don't talk to anybody, like my parents, my family. If you want to talk to me, if I call in the morning when my husband is home, so you talk to him and he will tell you I'm fine, but I'm not going to talk. Or you call in the evening when he's back from work, like you couldn't reach me. Like, I wasn't ready to talk to anybody. I was just on my own. And in this period, what I noticed was that I wasn't praying. I wasn't in that mood. I didn't want to know anything. I just wanted to be on my own. Like, I was shattered. All my hopes were broken. Like, this is me, just 1 year of getting married. I've had 2 miscarriages. The first one, yes, we just felt okay. It was just a few weeks. But the second one was like halfway gone, one fateful day. My husband came home. Then he would come home, he would make his food. I'm not eating, I'm not doing anything. Like, I don't go to the kitchen. I don't even want to do anything in the house. I don't, nothing. Like, maybe I go have my shower like 8 p.m. and I just go back to bed quietly till tomorrow again. Like, I didn't know what was happening. Nothing was giving me joy. He couldn't talk to me. When he comes back home from work, he doesn't talk to me. If he's trying to talk to me, I just like, please, can I just be on my own? It was a very, very terrible moment for me. It was a terrible place in my life. And I remembered one day, my neighbor was washing his car just by my window. And they began to, I think there was a sermon that was playing in his car. And the preacher was just talking. He was just playing it. And he said that for everything that we go through, that God is aware. God is preparing us for a breakthrough ahead. God is preparing us to be a testimony. I think, and it was used Hannah and Samuel's story as an illustration for that message that day. I was lying down in my bed, in my bedroom. I wasn't asleep, but I was just lying down. And he was washing his car outside, and I was hearing the message. Like, it was so loud, like the person was talking to me directly. And I knew that was the Holy Spirit. That was when the healing began with me. And that very day, I fell on my knees and I began to ask God for mercy. That I wasn't going to give up on him. I wasn't going to give up on myself. Have mercy upon my childishness and all that I have done. And I began to ask for mercy. And immediately, I stood up. I had a shower, took care of the house, mopped everywhere, cleaned everywhere, made dinner. And when my husband came that day, I will never forget. And he said, and he opened the door, he saw me, and I greeted him, and he said, wow, this is my wife. And I just burst into laughter. Like, who has he been living with? Is it not his wife? He said, no, that's not his wife, that was a stranger. And that was how I began to encourage myself in the Lord. I began to read books, I began to study more, I began to trust God completely, that whatever you want to do, you've even done it. And so it's like, we don't have any issues. Like, we can get pregnant, just that we don't have it yet, but we don't have any issues of getting pregnant. If in 1 year of marriage we've got pregnant twice, then we don't have any issues in getting pregnant. And then we began to live our life. I went back to work. We were happy. I was trusting God completely at this point in time. And then someone talked about, I began to listen to messages and all of that, Christian audios, Christian messages about waiting and all that. Began to build up my most holy faith. Even if I could pray for others and it happens for them, I needed so much faith for myself. I needed to trust God completely. I needed not to lean on my own understanding again. And someone talked about one book, Supernatural Childbirth. I was listening to a message and the person talked about supernatural childbirth. And I Googled it and I began to look for that book. I got that book and I began to read that book. I did not read it like mere book. I studied it, I ate it, I digested it. I did the confessions daily. I began to confess God's word concerning my home, concerning my life, concerning my marriage, concerning my spouse, concerning the children I was going to bring forth. Around June, I got pregnant. And this time, we were not going to take chances. I got pregnant. I remember the day we took the test, and it was in the afternoon because we were just playing about it. We were not serious about it. My husband doesn't want to offend me, like when he's like, okay, go try a test, and then you go for a test and it's negative and all that. So I knew he didn't want to hurt me. And we did a test. It was in the afternoon, and it was clear 2 lines, like positive. Are you serious? Positive. I could remember the way we were so excited. We fell on our knees. We began to thank God because God has done it as He promised. And that evening, it was evening service and we went to church. And we went to church, and my pastor was preaching that evening, and he was preaching. He was talking about John, and he was talking about Elizabeth, and how is the angel sealed John's mouth. And as he was preaching, he was walking down the aisle, and he got to me, and he put his hand on my shoulder, and he said, if only you could keep your mouth shut, your miracles would be in your hands. Like, excuse me? What did you just say? That there were some testimonies that God wants us to conceal. And that was why he told Elizabeth to go into hiding. And he said Elizabeth was in hiding for 5 months. And John, the husband, because he knew that John's mouth will not keep quiet, he had to seal John's mouth when the testimony came. And this was me that we just found out we were pregnant some few hours ago. And this was the message that God was saying. And I remember that day he said, give me water. And he said, drink water. And he said, open your mouth. And he put the water. And he said, if the water in your mouth, can you talk when you have water in your mouth? You can't talk when you have water in your mouth. It's when you swallow the water, then you can talk. So drink water. Anytime you feel like talking and your mouth wants to run, just drink water and you will keep shut. And that was us. We got into the car that evening and we said, you know what? God wants you to keep your mouth shut. There was nothing that could be that. There was nothing. And so we began the journey. We were happy, we were excited, we kept quiet, we didn't tell anybody. And sincerely, I was even tired of telling people that I was pregnant. And then a few weeks down the line, I'll say, oh, sorry. And you just ask, how are you going? How you feel? Like, sorry, we lost it. And then I told again, and we're pregnant. And then another news comes. But this time, we're not ready to share anything. If you're lucky and you see me around, or you see me on the way, you're like, oh, she's pregnant. Yeah. But I wasn't ready to call anybody or go and tell anybody that I was pregnant, not even friends, not even relatives. I wasn't going to share the story. I kept all to myself. And in February 2014, our testimony was in our hands. It was a huge shock for some people because they did not believe that I was going to conceal such a thing from them. I was not going to tell them. And I remember that very day, a lot of people were happy for me. A lot of people were super excited, but a lot of people felt bad. And those that came to ask me are like, that was surprising when you rang to say you've had a baby. Like, what happened all true? There was no news or anything, but this is you sharing the testimony. And I began to explain how it all went, and I began to explain to them, this is what happened, and this is why we had to act like this, and all of that. And some people genuinely understood. And so that was how our rainbow baby came, and that was how our testimony came. And that is me. Today, I have 2 lovely kids to the glory of God. I don't tell people when I'm pregnant, like, you are not going to hear it from me. Some people do not understand it, but to me, I understand it because from the spiritual realm, that was how God was going to deal with me. But for some people, they could bring it out and talk about it, and they still have it in their hand. But for me, it wasn't going to work that way. And so I had to walk with God or follow the instructions that God was giving for me to have my babies. So God deals with us in diverse ways. And unless you are spiritually tuned to Him, unless you've given your all to Him, you might not understand how He wants to deal with you. There are some people that will come out and they put it on social media. I'm not against anybody. I'm not against how anybody is doing their pregnancy journey. But I have a different one. I had a different experience. I have a different walk with God. And until God tells me, do it this way, until when the Holy Spirit gives me direction and say, do it this way, I'm not going to do anything on my own, because I might have done it on my own and I found that it didn't take me anywhere, it didn't lead me anywhere. So now I'm not leaning on my own understanding anymore. I'm trusting God completely. And another thing I want to say is, when you are trusting God for anything, continually celebrate those that have achieved theirs. Continually celebrate them. Continually celebrate them. Continually celebrate them. Continually celebrate them. Don't feel bad. I know that there are times that the enemies, we want to test your faith, we want to try your faith, we want to say, oh, this is what you are doing, what about your own? These are just fallacy, you are just deceiving yourself, this does not belong to you, where is your own? Show us your own evidence. It is not anybody's business. You have a purpose to fulfill, and in fulfilling your purpose, that should be your primary goal. And so today, to the glory of God, I have two beautiful children. My first daughter turned 6, and it was a time of reflection for me. And every time I look at her, every time it's her birthday, I begin to thank God for things that He has done. When the subscriber that said she was trusting God for a child sent me the mail, I sent her all the story. And I told her to go get supernatural childbirth. I told her, I said, begin to sow into children's life. Begin to call forth your children in the place of prayer. Begin to decree the things that you want to see in the life of your child. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on God, because God's ways are not your ways. He will do it in His time. So I want to encourage someone today that your time will come. And God will come true for you. It does not matter how long it takes. It does not matter what people are saying. Your time is your time. And you are not going to fulfill your purpose in someone else's time. You are going to fulfill it in your time, in God's time. And God's time is your time. So I'm encouraging you, if you are trusting God for anything, keep trusting Him. Never give up. Because keep all hope alive. Because God will surely come true for you. Thank you so much. God bless you. And sincerely, from the depth of my heart, I celebrate you and I thank you for always coming back. If you have heard the story and you like it, please thumbs up, share, comment. And if you have not subscribed till this time, please hit the red subscribe button. Subscribe. I love you. I appreciate you. And I'll see you in my next video. Shalom. God bless you.